Besides being absolutely adorable, these babies all have one thing in common. They're all sleeping in unsafe sleep environments. Just following the safe sleep guidelines at every nap and at every bedtime will reduce the risk of SIDS. Did you know the #1 cause of preventable infant death is unsafe sleep? The majority of these deaths occur while babies are sleeping in unsafe sleep environments. As part of the Cribs for Kids National Public Safety Initiative, I'd like to take a few minutes to talk to you about the importance of safe sleep for infants.
Let's talk about a safe sleep plan that'll work for you and your baby.
These are the ABCs of infant safe sleep.
The baby should always be A, alone, B, on their back, and C, in a safety-approved crib.
First, let's talk about babies sleeping A, alone. To avoid entrapment, strangulation, and suffocation, no blankets, pillows, wedges, positioners, stuffed toys, or crib bumpers.
No people, pets, or things.
Dress baby in a safety-approved wearable blanket instead of blankets.
In spite of some popular beliefs, we know there's no safe way to bed share with a baby. Accidents happen, no matter how safe you think you're being.
The risk of suffocation, asphyxia, entrapment, falls, and accidental strangulation is extremely high during bed sharing. This danger also extends to babies who are sleeping on couches or chairs with an adult.
It's made even riskier by bed sharing with an adult who is intoxicated.
And even without mom or dad, any adult bed is still an unsafe place to sleep.
If your baby falls asleep in your arms, transfer your baby to the crib as soon as possible. After night feedings, always place your baby back into the crib.
The American Academy of Pediatrics recommends that the crib be located in the parent's bedroom for the first year of a baby's life. Now, let's talk about B, back. A baby should always be placed on their back to sleep. When an infant is lying on their stomach face down or near face down, rebreathing can occur. This causes the baby to breathe in more carbon dioxide than oxygen. It can lead to death.
Once your baby is strong enough to roll over on their own, it's safe to let them sleep that way. At that point, they're strong enough to adjust their head if rebreathing is occurring. You should still always put them on their back to sleep, but there's no need to adjust them throughout the night.
Finally, C is for a safety-approved crib. A crib is by far the safest place for a baby to sleep. The baby should sleep in their crib for every nap and every bedtime. The baby's crib should be completely empty, except for a firm mattress covered by a tight-fitted sheet.
If you're unable to afford a safe place for your baby to sleep, your local first responders may be able to provide a cribette, a portable, space-saving, safe sleep solution. Remember, your baby sleeps safest while sleeping alone, at every nap and every bedtime. Unless a baby is in a moving car, they shouldn't sleep in their car seat. This same risk applies to strollers, swings, and infant inclined sleepers, automated rockers, or anything other than flat on their backs on a firm surface.
If your baby falls asleep in a car seat, swing, or bouncy seat, you should move them to the crib as soon as possible. These items are not safety approved for sleep, and sadly, deaths have occurred while babies are sleeping in them. In addition to following the ABCs of safe sleep, there are other ways that parents can lower the risk of sudden unexplained infant death. Breastfeed for at least the first 6 months. Use a pacifier.
Babies should be raised in a smoke-free home, and it's important that they aren't overheated when they're sleeping.
Now that you have a safe sleep plan in place, make sure that all of your baby's caregivers are on board.
That means grandparents, babysitters, daycare staff, even older siblings should be made aware of your plan.
The transition to safe sleep may take some time and hard work, but in the end, your whole family will sleep more soundly knowing that your baby is sleeping safely.
Hello, welcome, and thanks so much for joining us for this month's Cribs for Kids 25th Anniversary Safe Sleep Champion webinar. As you're coming into the webinar, you'll see your mic is muted and your camera's off. So go ahead and relax with your lunch or your coffee, depending upon where you are in the country joining us today. My name is Devin George. I'm the program officer here at Cribs for Kids. As usual, my colleague Andrea Wilson is running the show behind the scenes, and Kelly James, our social media manager, is managing the chat. Very soon, I'll turn it over to Bridget Gaussa, our operations officer, who is our host for this hour. So as you joined the webinar, you saw a video. What a great video, right? Of a couple of firefighters talking about infant safe sleep. This video is part of our National Public Safety Initiative program, designed for first responders, including firefighters, police officers, EMTs, paramedics, medical examiners, and coroners. Did I forget anybody?
No, you're doing good.
Our National Public Safety Initiative offers training, family education, and access to cribettes to support infant safe sleep in their communities. And today we're talking with some of these first responders that are part of that program. Before we introduce our Safe Sleep Champion guest for today, here's a quick review of our monthly webinars for those of you who might be new to this. And if you're not new to it, you can go ahead and, just look at some reels or something. This month, October, marks the 9th in our year-long series of free monthly webinars to mark Cribs for Kids' 25th anniversary. That means around the 25th of the month, depending upon where it falls in the week, we've talked with Safe Sleep champions from around the country about the work they're doing to prevent infant deaths and injuries from unsafe sleep. While the webinars are live, we do record them. So if you're just learning about these or missed a few or had to duck out early or came in late, you can find them all by following the 25th anniversary link on our website. You can copy that link too, send it off to other safe sleep advocates or like-minded folks, because sharing this information is the only way anything that all of us do has an impact, right? So earlier webinars are on the website now, and today should be uploaded in about a week. So just go to cribsforkids.org, then click on the About menu item, and then click on the 20th anniversary link. And as you scroll through that video library of the webinars, you'll see we have covered a lot of ground. We talked with Safe Sleep champions, Doctors Mike Goodstein and Barbara Osfeld, about the latest research. Product expert Michelle Berry and medical examiner Charlie Hunter. Safe Sleep support champions like Amanda Simons, Katie Borzikis, and Sam Hankey of Charlie's Kids, nurses Lori Winkler and Jamie Hovey. We were also joined by the team at the NICHD, and last month we hosted an expert roundtable of the doctors who literally wrote the AAP's infant safe sleep recommendations. See, a lot of ground. So there's 8 hours of great safe sleep content out there, and today we will add another hour to catch up on all of that and see the last 2 dates for our topics that are coming up in November and December, right? November and December, this is October. You'll go to cribsforkids.org, about 25th anniversary, super simple. And one more thing before we get started, you will see both chat and Q&A are available. If you have comments, you want to say hello, just use chat for that. If you have questions for our guests, use Q&A. We recommend you wait until we near the end of the hour. Excuse me, I'm going to cough. Sorry, until we near the end of the hour for your questions. We find most of the questions we answer throughout the conversation. But before we wrap up, we'll go ahead and invite you to send your questions via Q&A. If time permits, we'll answer them live. If not, we will stay connected to the meeting until after the webinar recording ends, and we'll answer them. So if you have a question, go ahead, put it in there. Be sure you can hang out until about 1 o'clock to have us answer them if we run out of time. Okay, here we go. This month, we're talking with 3 Safe Sleep champions to learn how they, as first responders, connect with their communities to support infant safe sleep. Cribs for Kids team member and COO Bridget Gaussa will lead the discussion as she manages the public safety initiative for our agency. Before I hand it over to her, let me introduce you to today's champions. First is Lillie Leonardi, Safe Sleep advocate and retired FBI and Pittsburgh police officer, Brian Maloney of Plum Emergency Medical Services, and Tim Carson, Westmoreland County Coroner. Lillie Leonardi served for over 25 years in law enforcement profession. She began her career as a police officer in 1984. Wait till you see her. You'll be like, no way. During her tenure, she specialized in youth violence prevention and intervention, as well as investigations of crimes against children. Lillie later joined the ranks of the FBI and served with the Pittsburgh division as its community affairs coordinator. While serving with the FBI, she was responsible for developing partnerships and training programs with external law enforcement agencies, businesses, nonprofits, organizations, and school districts. So all those community agencies that we work for infant safe sleep. Bringing a wealth of experience to today's conversation, Lillie retired to pursue her passion for writing and adds to her accomplishments being a twice traditionally published author with Hay House and an independent writer. Next, we will welcome Brian Maloney. Brian's the Director of Operations at Plum Emergency Services, a nonprofit EMS agency located right outside of Pittsburgh, PA, where we are headquartered and coming to you live. Plum EMS works each day according to its motto in partnership with the community. And about 6 years ago, in support of this, they developed a child safety program. This program includes car seat safety checks, distribution of free car seats, child and infant CPR training, injury prevention, community presentations, and of course, offering safe sleep education across their community while providing cribettes to families in need. And finally, we will talk with Tim Carson, coroner in Westmoreland County, also located in southwestern Pennsylvania, where we are. Tim has worked in the county sheriff's office for over 20 years, first serving for a decade as the director of community affairs and as grant coordinator, then chief deputy in the Register of Wills office, and now serves as the county coroner. In 2022, Coroner Carson became the Pennsylvania director for the Missing in American Project. And just last month, he received the CSA-wide Changemaker Award for his involvement in helping with drug abuse among our children. So an incredible wide range of experience in community education and intervention skills that our guests are bringing. It should be a great discussion. So let's get started. Bridget, I'm going to literally, this is our tech. I'm going to literally hand it over to you. And Bridget's going to start by giving us a bit of background on our public safety initiative.
Yeah,
so have at it. Thanks so
Devin.
much. I'm
Thank
going to
you.
relax now.
Okay. Well, hello and welcome. Thank you all so much for joining us today to learn about the Cribs for Kids National Public Safety Initiative. What had started off as the Cops and Cribs program years ago with Deb Robinson out in Washington State has grown and evolved into the National Public Safety Initiative, working with more than just police officers. Now we're working with EMS, the coroner's offices, and also fire departments throughout the country to help every baby sleep safer by helping us to spread the safe sleep message to their communities. So I'd first like to welcome Lillie Leonardi, safe sleep advocate and friend of our organization.
Hello, Bridget.
Hi, Lillie.
How are you?
Great. Hey, Lillie, let's jump right in. You have worked for so many years in the police department and the FBI and in your nonprofit. So how has your work influenced your community?
Well, I think it's had great impact on the community in a few ways, but throughout my career, I've specialized in children and youth initiatives, and the influence to community was impactful, I think, in several ways, especially for not only me, but the groups and the individuals we work with. I was raised to believe that children are gold and silver and the most important part of our lives, because they're our next generation. They're everything that pulls life forward. So I felt I was raised, but also in my career, it was our responsibility to educate, prevent, and intervene on their behalf. And the priority again for me became creating a safe and secure environment through collaborations like what you're talking about today, law enforcement and first responders and all the businesses too that are involved in what you're talking about today in the slide share, the safe crib, the environments, everything that relates to that. And for me, again, the impact of the work was that the children were safe, whether it was about the crib, whether it was about at school, whether it was about, and the collaborations and partnerships make it most effective.
Yes, that's awesome. Thank you so much. So does implementing a program like the National Public Safety Initiative that we offer, does that help officers become more engaged in the community?
I do believe so, yes. I saw it not only in my career, but when I went to the FBI and in the training pieces that related to community-oriented policing, is probably a new name for it. We traveled all over the country to teach. And the more involved the law enforcement officers became with community and child-based initiatives, I think it made for better officers because they're better educated about practices, not only as it relates. And I think what's hardest sometimes for the layperson, the public, to understand that we're trained to do a specific job that relates to crime and responding to that. So the educational piece is like what Cribs for Kids does and other organizations to help educate us to become aware. I think we become more effective in the community and also connect with individuals in the community. And I've never met a police officer that didn't want to talk to a little child or hold a kid if the little one, if the parent, and we want the children to be comfortable with us, and that starts at a very young age, even in the infancy of what. So I think it ultimately creates a better environment, not only for our community, but the responders serving in their best interest.
Oh, sure, absolutely. There's no doubt about that. Do you feel that spreading the information about safe sleep through the police officers, does that help reinforce the necessity of practicing safe sleep?
When we were privileged to get the questions, and the first thing that came to mind on this question, because I've shared it with you and Judy before, was being a young cop. The only female on the department 40 years ago, was the first woman on the department I served. And I was probably only on a few months, and believe it or not, it was even before they sent you to the police academy back then, And we got a call about a little boy, baby boy, an infant that wasn't, the mother couldn't awaken.
Mhm.
And again, we're talking 40 years ago when issues like SIDS or the SUID now, that the more that we move into, we weren't taught that, in the academy. So we went in, the other young officer and I, and found this poor little baby had died.
Mhm.
And on the belly, laying on the belly, the mother was obviously, hysterical about what was
Right.
going on. And that image, just with that question, still came to mind,
Mhm.
about seeing this little baby there and the reaction of the mother. So I think I'll never forget that. So in order to help, it's important for that slideshow that you presented, even to show officers that as part of their training. I think that's key. It helps to spread the word about it, and to understand that there are resources out there that the officer can utilize for them, but also to share with the individuals that they serve.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you so much too for sharing that story. I know that I've talked to so many first responders, and so many of them have shared that they can't tell me how many calls that they've responded to in their career, but they can always tell me the exact number of how many they have responded to that has involved a baby not breathing. It really does leave that lasting impact forever.
The children are the hardest. I think it
Yeah.
leaves the most trauma on anyone that serves the community.
Oh,
I'm sure the
absolutely.
same that relates to you. And unfortunately, a lot of these wonderful nonprofits like Cribs for Kids comes as a result of something negative that happens in the community. And anybody that's listened to your history knows that that's how Judy founded this, and why, she founded it based off of the negative impact in order to reverse it and make it positive, to
Right.
bring. And, cops have still to this day, you'd rather go to 100 calls that prove to be nothing instead of one and there's a little baby or a little child involved.
Oh, absolutely. Right. And that's why we're doing what we're doing, trying to change that for sure. So, do you have any advice for young officers or departments to help them
Well,
just
I
to
wrote
become
this down so that I could, so in my mind, prevention and education are primary. A lot of times when we've seen even negativity about first responders, 9 out of 10 times they can bring it back to no training, lack of training or whatever. So I believe it's our duty and our responsibility, if we observe an unsafe environment, to look for the resource, again, to prevent. And officers' resources have been elevated. There's a lot more out there than there ever was. So I think it's important that within the department, maybe they have a resource area, you know, or an officer that's assigned, or a civilian employee that they can go to, and to continue to spread, you know, about the positive elements of what that brings to the community.
Right.
Also, we've had so much negativity about law enforcement in the last years, and in some cases rightfully so. But if an officer becomes engaged in the community and becomes knowledgeable about what there is, I think that helps enhance their job, makes it easier to be able to refer them, you know, the resident, or you walk in and you see the baby sleeping, instead of like rebuking that, to say, hey, I see you don't have a crib. I know exactly where we can get you one. Let me make a call, or let me do this. So I think it's important for officers to feel not only like that they're serving in the best interest, but also participating and engaging and spreading the word about resources. It's kind of like the hyphenated good deeds, you know, that you share. So I think, in my mind, learn about your community, learn who your resources are. If you don't know, make it a point to find out. I had the opportunity of being the only woman working, that everything came to me because you were going to work with the kids. I specialized in crimes against children, all of that, you know, that came probably more easily to me because I was a mom and they thought I'd be able to handle it better. But I believe if you don't know, learn.
Right.
Find out who. There's a lot of essential resources available to the officers nowadays.
Yeah, and there are so many resources out there, and I love your advice. That is so wonderful. So how can, like, Cribs for Kids is that resource? How can we continue to really support the police officers that are trying to, you know, help spread the National Public Safety Initiative and the Cops and Cribs, or the message?
Well, I think this is important what you're doing here, but you know how you guys go out and do the conferences and
Yes.
that all over I think like to do something at like the International Police Chiefs Association conferences and that, because it's a bigger spectrum from around the world where you go in and you can present. Because again, reflecting back on my career and also everything I've heard from all the training programs, we want our kids to be safe. And it's the number one, you know, when we did research, Bridget, and you were part of all that research in the leadership pieces, it was the number one fear of parents, to keep their children safe. And I think the more you can get involved with first responder leadership, the better is where, because then it'll roll down. The expectation of what your duties and responsibilities incorporate have everything to do with resources and who to go to for them.
Thank you. Noted. We will be attending conferences now. Thank you so much, Lillie,
Welcome.
for joining us today. Oh my God, your experience and your expertise are just incredibly valuable. Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for sharing.
Thank you.
All right, so next up, we're going to talk with Brian Maloney, the Director of Operations at Plum EMS, which is right outside of Pittsburgh. So welcome, Brian. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for the invite. I'm really honored to be here. And I'll tell you what, it's a tough act to follow with Lillie going first. So, you know, bless her heart, she had a lot of great things. I like it.
Oh, we know you have a lot of great things to share too. So Brian, what did lead Plum EMS to develop its child safety program?
Well, actually, I give 100% credit to my colleague, Joe Festa. And I don't even know how it came across his desk, but something did. And I remember I was in a training in the city of Pittsburgh, and he sent me a note saying, "Hey, Brian, when you're done with your training, swing by this place to pick up some cribs." I was just like, I got a bed. I'm fine. I don't need this. And that actually is what kind of opened the door for Plum EMS to get into this endeavor and project. And I'll tell you what, it really opened up our eyes. It really has done a lot for the community. And I mean, we were so blessed to, in a sense, I call it fall into this. It was the perfect fit. And The mission of what the Cribs for Kids are doing is one thing that we're 100% behind, and we appreciate it. So it was a neat little thing that has really grown into a good program.
Thank you so much for your involvement. And is that why you decided to join the National Public Safety Initiative? And do you have like any improvements that you've seen in the community since joining the Public Safety Initiative?
Similar to, how a lot of other people probably talk about why this initiative began. I've been in EMS for 25 years, and unfortunately, like Lillie said, is I could probably, or maybe it was you, Bridget, I could tell you how many cases of infant deaths I've responded to, whether it be because of, that SUID or just an unsafe sleeping deal. And it's always affected us. And once again, dealing with children is a tough thing, and seeing the family's reaction is another one that has scarred a lot of first responders' hearts, is the way I kind of describe it, because it's something that we walk around with all the time, but people can't appreciate it because they don't see that scar. But when we kind of started this program, the reasons were because we want to be able to do more. We're not just always about responding to emergencies, but if there's ways we can help prevent them, that's the cat's meow right there. We're big fans of that because, as it was mentioned in the introduction, we have a child safety program in which we also do car seat safety checks. We give away free car seats. We got the Cribs for Kids. We do things dealing with people with substance use disorders, with Narcan Lean Behind programs. So we try to do as much as we possibly can to be there for the community in a proactive way, just as much of a reactive way. Because a lot of times when you think EMS, pick up the phone, call 911, we show up, take you to the hospital. We really have tried to expand our programs. And so, with the Cribs for Kids, this has really grown into something good, in which we're known in the community as a resource. We've developed relationships with our school district, so they're counselors who have an idea of who, in a sense, could need a crib. Food banks and soup kitchens we've reached out to, and daycares. So if people have a suspicion that someone may need a crib, they know they can call us. Just like, we don't discriminate. You need a crib? Here we go. Let's get you taken care of. And so we're very blessed with the relationships that we've had in the community to help make this program successful. And so it's a very neat thing to be a part of.
Oh my gosh, it sounds amazing. I'm so happy to hear. So how have you kept your EMTs and your paramedics engaged in this program? Because it does sound like you're doing so much.
Well, one of the things that we like to do with this is that, I actually have it on my calendar throughout the year. We revisit this several times throughout the year, because the moment you start thinking about something or focusing on something, we forget about it. I mean, it's just human nature. And so I have it in the schedule where periodically, several times throughout the year, we talk about this. We talk about the ABCs. We review things. And I'll tell you what, to see some of the results is just amazing, because what we actually do is crew members bring the stories back to say, hey, we saw this. Maybe a child sleeping with a bunch of items in their crib, or, blankets, or, something along those lines, or the bumpers. And it's so neat to hear people talk about it, because then that's when people keep thinking about it. They understand of, hey, we got this in the back of our mind when we go into a house. We're looking at certain things. And even if the infant isn't our patient, it's one of those things, though, the crews now have their radars up constantly, keeping an eye on these types of topics and looking for this kind of stuff. We've, and it's the same for when crews, we've given away a couple of cribs when we've gone into homes and realized, oh my gosh, there wasn't a safe place for this child to sleep. And one of the things we try to do is reward crews for for this, and give them recognition for what they've done. I've done anywhere from gift certificates. I've taken crews out to lunch before. We've shared stories with everybody, because then all of a sudden people are like, wow, I want to do something like this, because first, you're doing good for the infant and the family. And then second, it's kind of nice to get that recognition for people to know that you've done something more than a lot of other people do. So the crews have actually responded to this and a lot of my other challenges that I do here at Plum EMS incredibly well. Very open-minded about it. Didn't see it as a challenge. There was no resistance whatsoever because, similar to law enforcement, people just generally want to help and do good. So it's gone over incredibly well.
Oh my gosh, it sounds like it. So this sounds like you're keeping the crews really engaged, and I love that. So how has the community then responded to the public safety initiative, and especially on top of your safety program?
Positive feedback. It
Yeah.
really is. It's so nice because once again, when I do presentations for our government council, I talk about this. I talk about cribs that we've given away in education, and so even when they're up there, they've told me it's so nice to be able to have this in Plum Borough, to be able to offer this to the community. And there's times where we help even more than the community. I've had people come from the area, not just Plum Borough. That looking for cribs, looking for help, car seats. We do everything we can to try to help families, and it's just so incredible. And the one thing I wish is that we can see more results or the impact that we've had by doing this education and providing these cribs. And it's so tough to kind of measure that right now. Except for the fact that we're not responding, a lot of times to these types of incidents or calls, which I really, really like. But it was interesting. I just had a mother stop by to get her car seat checked because she had less. I think her child was only a couple weeks old, and she was in a car wreck and totaled her car. And luckily enough, I mean, the child, not even a scratch. And so we got to appreciate what we did for her because we actually did her first car seat before she had her child. And it was so neat. And I wish we could have something like that, except for, especially with the cribs and everything. But we know we're doing good. We know when they're educating people and, providing those cribs as needed, we know we're hitting the mark.
Oh yeah. So you're keeping the paramedics involved and engaged, and like the community's loving it. So when you first joined the public safety initiative, did you have goals set for the program, and like have you reached those goals at all?
With the goals of Plum EMS, and it even starts with our board of directors, they're very supportive of us doing public outreach programs and way to help make the community that much safer and that much better. And so initially it wasn't a specific goals, but what could we be doing to be able to do more than just providing EMS? And so that's kind of how this, got started, and even the child safety program when we went into it as well. For the goals, we're always look, for more. What more could we do? And so that's why I've even had opportunities to talk with, Bridget, about what could we be doing more? And we've
Right.
even talked about developing certification programs and, for recognized specifically for first responders at different levels, depending on what has been accomplished. So it's that kind of thing of, okay, yeah, we're doing good with education and providing those safe or appropriate places for, infants to sleep. What more could we be doing? Whether it be gun safety or aquatic safety or, this is a good thing that you guys have started and have going, and the impact that you've had on the community, and so it's that kind of thing of, hey, what else can we be doing to have that positive impact?
Yeah. So you keep asking, what else can you be doing? And so what are the next steps for Plum EMS?
Well, one of the things that we're kind of coming to the crossroads is that, funding for our program. In the past, we've been very lucky to have this relationship with the Cribs for Kids and the grant program to be able to get these cribs for free. And we understand it's going to end. And so we're working on securing additional funding, and same for our car seat safety program. In the past, we've gotten them free from our state. And we're able to distribute out because last year we gave away 38 free car seats. And so the idea of, okay, shoot, what are we going to do now? And it is amazing to understand our local businesses, how much they actually support this program. And they typically don't put restrictions. It has to be car seats. It has to be cribs. It's for our child safety program. I mean, I make one phone call and here you go. Here's some funding. And so, I always encourage, other services and organizations to think like that, is that, people are willing to support such good programs. And especially when it's hitting in your community, in your town, and having that, the outreach right there. So, that's pretty much one of the things that we're definitely going to be working on, is making sure we can continue this each day. And the other thing is, like I just mentioned about that, it would be neat to be able to establish a certification program, similar like you have for the hospitals for first responders. It is one of those kind of things. I just like it because you get to toot your horn to say, look what we've done. Look where we are, where we've been, and where we are now. So, once again, completely blessed to have such a great relationship with the Cribs for Kids organization and our community. And that's what makes it such a great success.
And you're talking about a certification program for first responders, and I think that's definitely something that we'll be working on over the next short period of time here. So, Brian, thank you so much. Your organization is going above and beyond and just doing such amazing preventative work to really, truly strengthen your community. So thank you so much for talking with us today.
You're welcome.
Yes, Devin.
Yeah, we do have an EMS conference if you'd like to join as well. So.
Oh,
Okay.
another
There you go.
great. Yes, please.
Thank you so much.
And I do just want to say, because a lot of times we have our guests who are our viewers who are joining us for the webinar, and they're like, well, how can I do this? So to hear Brian talk about, picking up the phone essentially and connecting with the community that you serve and how that business district, so you can start this. There are monies available, right? If you want to purchase cribettes, and you can reach out to your local businesses, your chamber,
Yes.
your Rotary. So there's a path to that. So I really love that he shared that. So
Yeah,
sorry, I
no,
get all
you're fine.
excited.
No, go ahead.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you. Jump in anytime. Okay, our third hometown guest is Tim Carson. He's coroner of Westmoreland County. Tim, welcome. Thank you
Hi,
for
how are
taking the
you?
time to talk with us today.
Not a problem. Glad to help out. This has been something that's been near and dear to my heart the past several months. So yeah, anything I can offer, I would love to.
Well, thank you. So what led up to Westmoreland County's decision to join the National Public Safety Initiative?
Well, earlier this year, we had 2 infant deaths due to unsafe sleep conditions. The kids sleeping with mom and dad, definitely accidents. One of the 2 actually didn't have a crib at all at the house, and the other infant, they had a crib, but mom and dad decided to soothe the baby and keep him in bed, and unfortunately suffocated the baby. So I was very frustrated. I've only been in office since the beginning of 2022. So, after talking to our deputies who've been here for a number of years, they went on to tell me that there was definitely, other situations that have come up over, their tenure here. There was a situation where a mom was on a rocking chair feeding her baby, and she fell asleep and literally suffocated the baby. She had just worked a 16-hour shift and at work, and was just completely exhausted, and very, very unfortunate. So after hearing that, I reached out to our state coroners association to see if there was anything out there, and there really wasn't. I was I would get on the different pages and see different corners, but there was a corner out in Lycoming County, Chuck Cleansing, that that got involved in that. And so then I reached out to him, and then sure enough, I mean, Westmoreland County, some of you may not know, literally borders Allegheny County, which is where cribs for kids are located. So it was literally a stone throw away. So after reaching out and signing up to be a partner, because I just knew that we needed to do something to kind of educate people in our county, and any newborn parents or even parents that might already have kids in that, just kind of get them involved in what we were trying to do in that. So
Thank you so much for getting involved. How has your team responded to the National Public Safety Initiative? And do you have any, like, what's your first personal feedback?
It's been tremendous. It's been overwhelming from the partnership we've formed with Cribs for Kids. We started with our we had a press conference and release back in August. We got a corporate sponsor on board, and we're lining up several more as we're moving forward now. And the response has been I don't say overwhelming, but at times, we've done several events in the community, national night outs. We have our booth. I mean, we have the banner. We were fortunate enough, we were able to, Corners or have a fund called the Cremation Fund. And we get $50 for every cremation that occurs. It's mandated by the state. So it's very, restricted as to what you can use the funds for. But, we were able to use some of the funds for printing of the cards and some, kind of gadgets and things that we take to different festivals and things like that, to the county fair. We did the Westmoreland County Fair for 10 days. So, we just kind of get that out there, and people visit the booth and that, and, we get them the information and that. And, people always like something, for free. We do stress balls and pens and bracelets for the kids and that. So yeah, I think you're holding one of ours up.
I am. Yes, we were so impressed with these.
Yeah, it's been, so yeah, the response has been tremendous. We're starting to reach out now to a lot of the social, community organizations in our county. I had someone, last week, reach out. She did home visits and that, and they had two infants in the house and only one crib. So, she asked if we could help, and within 24 hours, I actually delivered it. So we're very busy here. We investigate close to 4,000, investigations a year, death investigations. Wow. So I do whatever we have to, and this is important, for us to do. So, I literally delivered it, to their house. And, we teach the safe sleep classes here at our office, but, oftentimes, people just can't come in and that. So, I kind of take the show on the road, and, we take the information that we have and just tell them, the ABCs of safe sleep, and, how important that is, for their baby, and, for them as well, to have peace of mind that their baby's, sleeping safely, and, they're doing whatever they can as parents.
That is so great that you actually go to the homes though too and deliver the cribs yourself. That is
Yeah, I
wonderful.
mean, it's a situation where it's like, I definitely don't mind doing it. And yeah, last week, on I think it was Tuesday and Wednesday, back-to-back days, I delivered cribs to the house, because when mom or dad or whoever says, well, we can't come in, because our county is very large. I mean, it can take you an hour to drive from one end of the county to the next. There's city areas, rural, so yeah, I mean, but we've had our classes here as well, and people, do come in, but, I'm not gonna hold someone back from getting a crib because, they may not have the means to come to Greensburg and actually get the crib.
Thank you so much for doing that. That's changing people's lives. So, all right, what are your main goals for your department now that you've joined the Public Safety Initiative?
Well, right now, we're just literally, 4 months into this journey. Our goals is to, line up corporate sponsors, get out, keep getting the word out, in the community. And, we're out there, quite often. We get out there, as I said, for the, national night outs, and anything in the community. I'm always constantly bringing it up, so I could just tell the words, getting out there. And our goals is to definitely not, let anyone that calls this office for a crib, go without one. So we'll do whatever we have to. And we're in the process of lining up some help from Walmart's, because they have community organizations that they give money to, and that Target as well. And we've had local people that are so that's kind of my goal now is to get out and visit those places. We have a packet now that we got together, so we can explain to some of the larger businesses and all that what we're doing, so they have an understanding in that, and they see what it is, and plus getting the message out into the public, because I'm very careful in stressing to people that we're not using taxpayer dollars. And again, not that it's a waste of taxpayer dollars, but some people just especially in our area, people tend to, not all, but some people just think that you should be responsible for buying your own crib, and but so I'm careful to getting that word out that it's all through private donations and that, and like I said, my time to go out and try to do that. And the message has definitely been overwhelming support in our area, and anytime I go out and that, and it's funny how many parents I have that do come up to me, even grandparents, and say, oh, I did that, I slept on with my baby in bed and that, and you feel so bad. I mean, I 5 kids as well, so I get it, and I'm I can remember a time where I did in on a rocking chair feeding my which he's now 11-year-old son a bottle, and I dozed off. So I look back at that and now I'm thinking, oh, thank God nothing came of that. But I've had so many people like that approach me as well out in the community. So
Yeah, the exhaustion, it's a true form of impairment, that's for sure. It can happens to the best of us.
yeah, I mean, it's something that it does, it happens and that. But yeah, like I said, people just been a lot of first responders have been very much on board. So yeah, I'm just trying to get a plan together for 2024, and to see how we can just keep building. And because like I said, I've been a little bit reserved and just I have some ideas for how I can really just get it, but I want to make sure we're in a position to do it correctly and that. And it's been a good process for us to kind of lay out a game plan. And I mean, I can't stress enough how important our partnership is with you. I mean, you provided all the tools from us, from the PowerPoints to getting everything lined up. It definitely is very makes it very smooth. I can't imagine if I had to go in and design the cards and things like that. That would really hold you back. So in terms of that, it's just a matter of getting what we needed in place and that, and seeing from there. But the support we get from your office now has been tremendous.
Oh, thank you. Yes, we try. So if you ever have any suggestions, though, please don't hesitate to reach out to us, though, too, and make those suggestions. But we do, that's a great point. We do have a toolkit for any of the first responders, any agency wanting to get involved. We do supply you with resources, and we're also very open to developing new resources as well. And even with the fundraising, we love to, help try to make connections wherever possible too, because sometimes it really is as simple as just making a phone call and making that ask of certain, different companies. Have you had any trouble in like the training process of the public safety initiative?
No, I mean, it's been smooth. I mean, we have a few of our deputies that are trained in that, and everyone, our county support has been great in terms of lining everything up on on our website and that, to get people in here and that. And yeah, I can't stress enough how important that's been, and just how smooth it is. It's not, sometimes you run into situations that it's just like it can be so tough to try to get things done in that, and it's been so so smooth. And the training, like I said, when we tell people, I mean, we tell people we teach safe sleep classes, they think, oh my gosh, I mean, what can that encounter? And then once you explain more and tell them what all is involved, and what happens when mom or dad or, grandparents, aren't, following the ABCs and that, then the light bulb starts to go on, so, but yeah, I always have to explain because like I said, when I tell people we, teach safe sleep at at our office in Greensburg, they just kind of like, it's like a deer in the headlights look until you, explain it a little bit better.
Yeah, there's a little more to it than just closing your eyes and taking a snooze.
Right.
Absolutely. So, what has been your best experience since joining the public safety initiative?
Probably I was at the our county fair. I worked our booth for 2 nights, and just the response I got from there. I mean, people just being, because people had heard about it because we had a pretty good launching through the media, and just the response that we got, and then once people would come up and say, what is this, and once I would explain it, they were just so so overwhelmed, and people want to know, how they can, help out or make donations and that. So that, and then, delivering the cribs when I probably have delivered probably half a dozen so far. And just that, response, from the people I deliver them to, and just being so appreciative and, just really thanking us for our efforts. And that's been very, very rewarding, because I know that there's been a couple of situations, as I said earlier, where you had 2 infants and only 1 crib, so that's not good. So yeah, by doing that, that's that's been the most rewarding for me.
We have a fire department that also participates in the program, and they had been responding to a call on Christmas Eve one year. And it was the call was for a woman that was having chest pain. It was the grandmother that was in the home. And when they responded to the call, there was also a baby present. And they asked, where the baby was sleeping. And the mother had said that, she was just in town visiting, and the baby was going to be sleeping with them in the bed. And the firemen said, no, we're going to go get you a crib. And they said that was their best Christmas ever, because they knew that they were making a difference in that family's life. So I think just the response is always like my favorite part of what we do. How has the Westmoreland County community reacted to the initiative? You touched on that a little bit, but can you tell us a bit more?
No, it's been, pretty much, it's starting to get to the point, anywhere I go out, in a community or speak, or maybe run into someone at the grocery store or something, we get talking, and you're like, and they'll say, oh, you got that crib program going and that. And I say, yeah. So, the response has been very, very positive, and something that, has been, as I said, just rewarding, for myself, for the people in our office and that, and, being out there and being able to help people in that. That's been great. And like I said, some of the first responders have gotten involved and want to know what they can do. So, like we're in the process of putting together some committees and that. And, I'd even like to see it maybe stretch down to Fayette County and some of the other counties and that border with us, and partner with them. I know the Southwest Louisiana Sleep Task Force, I believe, they have several different offices involved in, the Charlie Hunter's group and that with they've been very helpful as well with the St. Tammany's coroner's office down in Louisiana is so proactive and just, so aggressive with this. Chris down there, one of their deputies, and does a lot of community work, was a godsend, because he gave us, some ideas to model from, being that their coroner's office as well, to see what was working. And they do, they're like the Cadillac in terms of, as far as I'm concerned, and just other things they do in the community as well, not just the Cribs for Kids. They're very very, very proactive, and that's what I've tried to do. And with my time here in office, try to, because what we see is usually bad, and it's unfortunate, and a lot of doom and gloom, and we try to get something positive, out of what occurs from time to time.
Would love to work with you, and we'd also love to see this program expand into the other communities. Tim, thank you so much. It is fantastic to hear about your success and the response that you're getting to your program and participating in the National Public Safety Initiative. I'd like to thank all of our guests once again for joining us. This program really emphasizes prevention, and we've found that it really does resonate with first responders and the coroners who bravely face these unfortunate scenarios in their work, and they're motivated to do the community work to avoid them. So I hope that we have shed some light on the National Public Safety Initiative. If you would like more information about the program, please visit cribsforkids.org and under the programs tab to go to the National Public Safety Initiative, or feel free to reach out to me directly at bgaussa@cribsforkids.org. I'm going to pass the baton back to Devin.
This is our baton.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks so much. You're waiting for a little screen share. Hold on. I'm not allowed to touch anything while she does this. Told you they were live. See? See? There we go. So yeah, another great hour. I knew it would be. This isn't a program that I work with every day, so I really appreciate hearing Lillie talk about here all those years ago, how that image sticks with her and how they are working within the communities to share their resources, to find ways to foster infant safe sleep education. And really, when you have a police officer or a firefighter or an a paramedic or an EMT, they're experts in their safety areas. So to be able to rely on them to deliver that safe sleep message, really invaluable. Thank you so much. So you see the impact, you've heard the impact of their infant safe sleep commitment and others like them doing the same grueling, as Bridget said, this emotional work across the country. We are so appreciative of partners and advocates like them who take our mission and to their communities and across the country, right? That's the only way any of this works. So thank you again, as Bridget said, to Lillie, Brian, and Tim. So if you've joined us for earlier webinars, you may remember that we end each session with 3 items. 1, a call to action, right? You sit through an hour of this and you listen and you hear, but what are you supposed to do with that? 2, the announcement of our next webinar, next to the last one. And 3, we play our new lullaby, Just Baby, kind of schoolhouse rock for safe sleep, and it is there for you to share all you like. Okay, so first, the action item. Our earlier action items involve sharing our lullaby, becoming a safe sleep ambassador, getting others to join you in becoming that safe sleep ambassador, signing up for product recall notices, reporting the sale of unsafe sleep products like no more baby bumpers can be sold, and marking your calendar for our May 2024 Safe Sleep Conference. Have you done all that? I think I have. I have, yeah. But if you haven't, take another whack at it and add this month's action item to your list. And that is doing exactly what you heard our first responders talk about. Pick up the phone, stop by the station, send an email to your community officer, right? You heard Lillie talk about those community officers and Brian and Tim as well, and learn if the first responders are in your community know about the National Public Safety Initiative. Share what you learned today or with whomever you're able to connect. It's nice to call those numbers when it's not an emergency. And even if you're in a large city and you're like, well, I'm not going to call like the police chief, call your zone, call your local zone office and ask the question, hey, do you know about Cribs for Kids National Public Safety Initiative? So we can send you you can send them the link to our website, or look at this nifty QR code right here. You can see the link to our website here. You can scan that QR code. And so you have easy access to that when you're picking up the phone, or maybe you're walking your dog and you knock on the door. I'm sure that our guests today will agree they like hearing from people when it's not an emergency. Okay, so that's our action item. Next is November's webinar. Immediately following today's session, registration is going to open up for next month's session. Scheduled for Monday, November 27 at noon Eastern, we will welcome Shana Raphael of the Claire Bear Foundation and Ryan Perico of Child Care Aware. The focus on November's webinar is infant safe sleep and daycare. When baby is in the care of somebody else, about 20% of the 3,400 babies we lose each year die while they're in the care of someone else. So we're going to talk with Shana and Ryan about these 700 preventable annual deaths. We're looking forward to this important discussion, and we hope you'll join us. And now, so action item, webinar. And now If you were paying any attention, you know it's the lullaby. We close each webinar with Just Baby, a safe sleep lullaby. Like the Safe Sleep Ambassador and our video library content, it's available at no cost. The song, the video, the music bed, English and Spanish versions, it's all out there for free for downloading and sharing. So as the lullaby plays, we're going to stay on for any Q&As that may have been here. I didn't invite those just yet, but go ahead and put those in if you have any questions that have come up while you were enjoying this discussion. And we'll hang out while the lullaby plays and we'll answer those. Remember, you can always reach us at info@cribsforkids.org. Again, thank you to my colleagues, Andrea, Kelly, Bridget, and our guests, Lillie, Brian, and Tim. As always, thank you to those of you who are joining us live or are watching later. Your time and commitment to our shared mission is the only way that our work works. So thank you.